This is the Lyndsay Stafford Show.
Welcome back to the Lyndsay Stafford Show. We have a really special episode today. It is actually unlike any we've ever done. So I'm super excited to have Brooke, Tanner, and Katy Clouse here with me today. They are coming to us from the ARC in Franklin, or ARC in Williamson County, but they are in Franklin. And I'm going to let them tell you about the work they're doing. But this is a really special episode. We're talking about a local business that supports local families here in Middle Tennessee. And one of my missions with my platform, both in print, digital, all the things that I do, my reach is to bring awareness to nonprofits and charities that are doing work to support the community. And so this fits in perfectly with that. So I love what you guys are doing, but I'd love for you guys to go ahead and introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about the work that you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I'm Katy Clouse. I am the director at the ARC in Williamson County. We work with families, individuals, children who are impacted by intellectual and developmental disabilities. We have a number of different programs. I'm sure we'll get into them as we're talking here. So, I've lived in Middle Tennessee, Williamson County. Was born and raised here. So I'm a native.
You're an OG.
Yeah,
one of the
absolutely. I'm a unicorn.
Yeah.
And never got into music or anything. So.
Yeah. It's only people coming here that get into the music scene,
exactly,
right? That's awesome. So were you raised in Franklin then?
No, I grew up in Brentwood.
Okay.
My parents are OG Brentwood.
Wow.
They moved out there in the early 70s and still live in the same house. And went through all Williamson County schools. And I have a master's degree in social work.
Amazing.
And this is what I do.
Did you work in, it sort of is social work, but did you work in like state department of social work at all?
No, I've been at the ARC I started working at the ARC in 2002.
Okay.
So I've been there, how many
23
years?
years?
23 years.
Yeah. So you were like 5 when you started.
Thank you. I had worked previously in South Carolina under their Medicaid program.
Okay.
Which is where I went to school. I went to Furman for my undergraduate.
Nice.
And ended up moving back here, started working at the ARC, and I've worked in just about every role that we have there at this point. And now I'm the director there. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, social work is a crazy world. My sister was in social work for 2 years. In Dorchester, Massachusetts, which is a tough area in Boston.
Okay.
So I had to finally tell her she couldn't tell me the stories anymore because I just couldn't. I was not cut out for that. I wasn't sleeping at night.
Yeah.
So I commend that work.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Brooke Tanner. I'm the director of development at the ARC. I've been there almost 2 years as working there. I was on the board for a bit. Like Katy, born and raised here in Franklin, and my parents still live downtown Franklin. I went through all the public schools and then went to Brentwood Academy. I have 4 kids that have all been in Williamson County schools since early intervention preschool program.
Wow.
All the way through high school. And my 2 oldest now are in the transition program at Franklin High, which is the kind of special needs program after you graduate. One great thing that the state of Tennessee does is offer free education for individuals with disabilities up to age 22. Wow. It's called like a transition 1, transition 2. And that's truly what it is, transitioning into adulthood and what that looks like. So I kind of tell people that I've been there from the diagnosis to now this new stage of adulthood. And every stage is overwhelming and every stage is very isolating and very kind of like a dark hole in a way of resources and what's available, what's not available, which is where I kind of landed with the ARC. I mean, the ARC stepped into my life through a mentor when I got my second son got the diagnosis of autism, and at that point I had 2 diagnoses, and gosh, I don't know what kind of mom I'd been without the ARC. They opened up a door of support and resources, and just continued to support me. And when the opportunity came to join their team, I was like, pick me, please pick me.
I want to give back. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a really full circle moment for me as a mom to get to be a part of something that's bigger than my kids, which is my mission, but then get to see other people step in where they stepped in with me.
Fantastic. The journey. It's always all about how do you take what's been given and just give back to other people. So love that journey for you. And I don't know firsthand because I don't have a special needs child, but I do have a long-standing coaching client and friend who does.
Okay.
And so, I get pretty in the weeds in those relationships, right, with another individual. This is years long. And so I really do know what a difference that makes for those families. So talk to us a little bit about the different programs and different offerings that you have at ARC.
You could probably go into more of like the programs and then we'll talk about, from there.
All right. Well, so we have 2 state contracts. The first is for independent support coordination, and that's case management for people who receive specific types of Medicaid funding. And then we have our family support program, which is a grant that we get from the state of Tennessee, and 85% of that grant goes directly to families.
Wow.
We are actually finishing up our fiscal year right now and trying to get, make sure we get all of that money spent and allocated out to families. So that's our second program. Third, we have our advocacy program, which is kind of an umbrella term. It covers everything from student advocacy to book clubs to we do some social skills classes, teen group, just a whole myriad of programs. I think Brooke's got some things in the works there too with the public transportation, trolley class, just lots of stuff there.
That's fantastic. So necessary too,
Yeah.
but things that without being in that world, you wouldn't think that it needs to be.
Yeah. Just opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, opportunities, keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
And then our last program is counseling. I started providing counseling under my license this year for mostly for folks with disabilities. They have a hard time, a lot of times, finding mental health care.
Yeah.
And it has been a big learning curve for me, but I've really enjoyed working with both folks with disabilities and I've got a couple caregivers that I see as well.
Oh, that's great. And that's all done through the ARC.
Yes. And right now we have a grant for it. So, we don't have to charge anyone at this time for it.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing.
Yeah. Really enjoying doing
Yeah,
that.
that's great. I have one of my close friends is a therapist, and that's what she focuses on, ADHD and autism.
Oh, really?
Children. Yeah. I'll have to connect you guys after this.
Yeah.
And I'll list her, Tina Bahara is her name. I'll list her in the show notes. We'll make sure we put her stuff in there too. So folks can find her because it is, and we had this conversation. She was at my house last Sunday and sitting by the pool, just talking about, life and catching up and such a gift when you have those days to do that.
Right.
But talking about how challenging it is for families to find providers that are highly specialized in those areas.
Yeah, it's super limited. As a parent, it's super limited. And so it's like one of the things I love the most of like when I'm out kind of like spreading our mission is that I put in hard that we offer counseling for the individual that has the disability. So many people look at them and just see them as clinic, ABA, therapy, speech, OT, check those boxes and never address the individual. I have the privilege of having an office next to Katy when she's doing counseling and get to see the individuals come in and they're like excited and they know it's a safe place and they're getting to be them. And it's accepted. And Katy closes the door and what she does in there, I don't know. But when they come out,
she waves a magic wand.
It's really cool to sit back and watch someone who their whole day is around therapy and fitting into a box that we say to fit in. And it's like the one time that they're able to probably express in their own way. And Katie's able to process that with them in their way that they can connect and understand. And it's a domino effect, because then they're able to take those skills that they're learning in counseling and they're applying it within their staff, their caregivers, their jobs. It's a real toolbox for them that not many people are willing to even sit down with and say, what self-care tools do you need so this is a fulfilling life for you?
Emotionally, because they're so focused on just physically surviving.
The external.
Yeah.
That's what all the programs are. Like she was saying, the, behavior analysis, we're focusing on changing the environment to try and modify behavior. Well, in my office, when we're in counseling, we are paying attention to how do you feel about this thing that has happened to you? And, maybe you had an incident this week, and let's unpack that and see, did you use some of the coping skills that we've talked about? And if you didn't, do we need to reinforce those skills somehow? Just really just giving people the space to really, and there's no wrong answers to anything. I don't correct people. We just go with the flow of whatever is present when they walk in. So
what a great gift.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm really enjoying seeing change and people being more confident in themselves and wanting to do more than just being at home or going to a day program or whatever. They want to do more. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your experience on the other side and how that led you to get involved. And how, I'm curious, just from a logistical standpoint, how does one get involved with you to receive support? And then how would somebody that wants to provide support or funding or whatever, how would that work?
Well, I would say for me, it's been a real eye-opener of already being a parent in the special needs world. And I'm always passionate about connecting people, that there's never a no in anything. It might be a no for this, but it will lead you to something else. And so as a parent, I was constantly kicking everybody to the arc. Hey, I don't know what you need, but they'll have what you need, And so I kind of tell people, just that the ARC's the one place that as a nonprofit, I tell people we're a listening nonprofit. That's what was different. I would come into the ARC, and at the time it was Sharon. She would listen to the hard that I had. And she would listen, and then all of a sudden she would call me back with the resources and the direction. And that's so powerful. That's different than any other nonprofit or any other agency. When you're walking that special needs path, you're already pretty alone.
Yeah.
And you're already I don't have the white picket fence life that I thought I was. Then you start going they don't take my insurance. Oh, I don't have the money for this. Or, what is this going to look like of kindergarten, 5th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade? That it's you already are told no everywhere.
There's roadblocks everywhere you turn.
And it's expensive, you know? And so the ARC, I tell families, you come in and we listen to what you need, and we might not have the answer, but we're going to call you back with it. And that's the only place I've ever had as a parent and as a caregiver, and as my children have received so much from the ARC, and now getting to be on the other side of it. I tell people, I'm we're the only place that listens, and then we do it. So a lot of places, when you go in for an agency or therapy or school settings or anything on this journey, it's well, what boxes is this? What level is your child? Oh, they have this behavior. Sorry, that's too much for us.
That means the paperwork has to go this place because of that. All of the red tape.
Everything.
Involved.
And I'm I love every day going to the office and seeing a new family or a new situation. And we all come together and we're oh, wait, I actually know somebody. Let me get on the phone. we don't tell people no. We just say, what do you need? Like what, and sometimes they don't even know what they need. And we can speak into that and say, okay, you know, we might not have the resources for it, but we're going to find it for you. And we're going to stand in the gap so you can take a breath, and we're going to lead you to that. So I don't know if that answered it in a way.
I like I said, I personally, I've not been there, but the only thing that I can relate it, and this is like, please no, I'm not trying to say I know, I understand, but my daughter had a seizure a year ago in March.
Scary.
One time, praise the Lord, we worked with Dr. Tim Livingston, and amazing doctor, neurologist for children. But anyhow, then she was having these fainting episodes consistently, and no one was giving me an answer, right? And I was doing as a speaker at a presentation at a conference, and I think I was in Dallas when this was all happening. It must have been January-ish time. And she fainted while I was getting ready to go on and present. She wasn't with me. She was at school, right? She was at Page. And I got, the notification that this had happened, and my parents are there and my husband's there, and it's not like she was alone, but I remember just feeling like calling the pediatrician, calling the cardiologist, calling the neurologist, and like I couldn't get anywhere. It was like, it literally felt like I was just talking to a brick wall and nobody was giving me answers. No one would even guide me. And I just remember going, please, like, just help me know what I should be doing now, because I just don't want this to keep happening. And I can only imagine that that's how it feels to be in a situation where this is your everyday battle.
Yeah, it's long term.
And there's something new every day that you're battling, and you just need someone to say, let me help you know how to handle this.
And as soon as you get to one stage where you feel like you mastered it, I mean, I felt really like, diagnosis to like 5 was hard. 5 to 11 was like, I felt like a master. I was like, oh yeah. I mean, people were calling me and I'm like, oh, I got this. Like, oh, it's easy. Yeah. It's not easy. It's just like, I had it. And then 11 to 15 was back to like starting block. And then, 18 on, I think that's what's kind of hard with the special needs path, is that as soon as you kind of get your ground and you're like, oh, we've got this path, puberty happens, adulthood happens, behaviors come up that you haven't had to deal with before, and you're trying to figure out the triggers and you're trying to like remap everything. So as a caregiver, same like what you were just speaking about, like no one advocates harder for their child than a mom. And when you're feeling like you're just going up and just wall after wall after wall, you kind of just, you stay in your walls. And I see that. I see parents just stay in their walls. And that's something that I know, because I built my own little walls up around my family, but it's not the place to be.
It's so isolating.
Yeah.
And I want to talk a little bit about the, what do you call it, the after high school?
Transition.
And what is that care called? Daycare?
No,
it's
transition and day programs.
Day program.
When you're an adult.
I knew it wasn't daycare, but day program. So that has been, I know how transformational that has been for my friend who has her son in that, because it's enabled her to actually be able to work.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no other way.
There's
what
no
other
place.
option is there for parents?
Well, they are actually trying to kind of move away from day programs because it's not particularly person-centered. The state views that as kind of a warehouse type situation where people are just going and not really doing anything.
Kind of like a childcare center.
Yeah.
It is.
Unless it's structured.
Yes. But it's also, there are some really good programs out there that are really working on, job skills and community living skills. Waves has a great program where they are, they've got community activities. They help folks go out and learn job skills. There is that. Our problem is that there aren't staff. There aren't people to help, that are providing that service. And so, we run into a lot of people who've been enrolled in different Medicaid programs, but they can't get the services because there aren't staff to do it. So that has been our biggest barrier.
Yeah, I bet. And you mentioned Waves. Is that another program?
They are another nonprofit in Franklin.
Okay.
And they provide day residential services. They have an early intervention department. What else do they do? They do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We'll have to have them. We'll have to have them on too.
Yeah,
And have we featured you yet in my magazines?
No, we're going to be in August or September.
Good. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure we've got, I'm sure my team has you scheduled, right?
Yeah. And we actually have a family of ours. And when I reached out, I was kind of like, hey, I love your magazine and these families are beautiful, but I'm tired of not seeing families that look like my family.
and I love that. That's what we need.
I mean, that was literally what my opening sentence was.
And we're like, great.
Yeah.
Come give us people.
You're like, do you have a family? And I was like, oh, crap. Okay. Yeah. Hold on. Maybe.
And look at what that opened the door to.
And it's a domino.
We're here. We have that. See, and that's one of the things. I love that. And I love that we're talking about this because I have this amazing platform. I have 2 beautiful magazines that are family centered, all positive. We don't talk about religion or politics in them or any divisive issues. That's like literally from the script, I think. Yeah. But we feature local families and communities. And in the last 3.5 years that we've been in print, we feature Hometown Hero, high school students, pets, all good things that are happening in this immediate area. But we have always stayed committed to featuring a nonprofit or charity in every edition.
That's awesome.
And that is something I feel really strongly about, using it as a voice to bring attention to people that are out there doing good in the world. And so if you're listening to this and you live in Franklin, College Grove, Eagleville area, we go into Arrington a little bit, we're always looking for great stories to tell. But it's exactly what you said. We need people to send us the folks to refer. So
and it's really, it's hard. Like, it's hard to look at your family and you've already been rejected by quite a bit to then step up and say, hey, feature us. And I think that's where I kind of come in at the arc of like, not only a family, but also we hear it. We hear, hey, we don't have staff. Hey, what does this look like after 22? Like, what does this look like when I pass away? And what is this going to be for my child? And what do I, like, we hear all of it. So I think that's what is so awesome about us, is that we're like, okay, then we'll do it. Yeah. Like, perfect example of programming, we hear there's no staff and there's no way to get around to the rec center or go to Kroger's to independently shop for myself. And so we were like, oh, yes, there is. The trolley runs all over Franklin and nobody uses the trolley. I love the trolley. My kids use it all the time.
I've never been on the trolley, but now I need to go on the trolley.
I am like a huge advocate for them because I'm like, it is safe. It is enjoyable. I can text all I want while I'm scooting around town. But I was like, okay, then what do we do? Like, I'll take whoever wants to go on the trolley every Wednesday, like 11 to 1. And we're going to go to Kroger together and we're going to see like, hey, you get off. And, I'm not one to say no to things. So I'm like, I don't care how much Dr. Pepper you get or Cheetos, like whatever you take home, that's between you and staff or your mom, like I'm not regulating anybody. I'm like,
I am not going to filter what you buy. I'll just make sure you get home.
But I also tell people, I'm like, and we shouldn't, I mean, I don't want somebody going into Publix with me over my shoulder and be like, you shouldn't get those Skittles. And I'll be like, hey, back off. Like I'm here. It's my money. This is what I want to do. And it's teaching that individual life skills. Like, hey, I can advocate for myself. I want a Dr. Pepper and I want a bag of Cheetos and I have the money and this is how I go in and this is how I check out. And then I get back on the trolley and I ride it back and it's safe. We go to the mall. It goes Williamson Medical Center. Farmers market on Saturday. So like where there is holes in our system of staff, I'm like, great, then we'll fill it. Is it something that we can fill every hole? No, but let's do what we can do. And so I am like super passionate about independence, and everyone has a purpose. I say all the time with my boys, like their purpose looks different than my daughter, but it's not any less of the purpose. So what do we need? Like, what do we need to implement where everyone is feeling their best, therefore living their best?
Yeah.
And like I say, like, it's like counseling. It's like riding the trolley. Like, one individual was so afraid of the trolley and it was preventing her from using it to access backlight. And I was like, then we're riding it together. And I was like, let's just go. And the joy and the confidence when she stepped off by herself and everybody at backlight knew, like, I was like, hey, she's riding the trolley. Like, this could be dicey. Like, I don't know if we're going to make it. I was like, we might make it, we might not. And everybody, they played like Independent Woman for Kelly Clarkson when she got off and they were clapping for her. And she was like, I did it. And I'm like, yeah, you did. And you're riding it back by yourself. I was like, I got to go. But it's
I got you here, but
it's just like, that's what we do. And I don't, it's pretty cool.
I love that.
To see that.
Life changing in so many ways. So what do you need? How can we help?
Oh,
if listeners are hearing this and they're like, you know what, I want to be a part of this.
Where do you want me to start? That's probably like another podcast for me.
That's all right. Just jump in.
I am really big on seeing us, like see us. Like people ask me all the time, like, I know the ARC, but I don't know what y'all do. Like y'all pick up furniture. I'm like, no, I mean, that's the ARC of Tennessee. But what we do, I tell people the ARC's the one place where we hold your hand at diagnosis to death. And so there's nothing in between that we can't handle. But we need funding. We need resources. We need connection in the community. I want our people to be seen outside of just being a Publix bagger or a greeter at church or at a day program. I want to see our people doing a book club at Starbucks on the corner, and I want people to join in with them. We do Waldo's in Franklin. Casey is awesome, the manager.
Awesome.
First Tuesday of every month from 5 to 7, we eat together and we play bingo. And it has grown and it is very competitive. And we are learning the life skills of not everybody gets a gift card. Yeah. That hadn't been, my strong suit.
Well, I can tell you that they don't learn that in young sports these days.
Yeah.
So that is
I'm a
good.
big believer in like not everybody gets a trophy, but for some reason, like when it starts going down and people are getting upset, I'm like, hey, I need another gift card.
Yes.
Like, I think I just need 15 for the end of the night and hand them out. But I have loved watching our community come with their staff and eat dinner together. And people in the restaurant are kind of looking at us and kind of like, who are y'all? Are y'all like all a house? I'm like, no, we're all over the place. Like she lives with her parents. He lives with his sister. This is a supported living home that's on Cannon Street, like 2 streets over from us. And watching teenagers, especially at 5 o'clock, come in after sports. And at that point, at 6 o'clock, we start bingo and we pass out bingo cards to everybody in Waldo's and the whole restaurant participates.
That's so fun.
And we have people helping our people.
We got to put that in your article.
Yeah. So first Tuesday of every month, we're at Waldo's on New 96.
Actually, we should put that in our calendar of events in the magazine.
Please do. Yeah, please do.
That's like such an easy thing. We'll just add it to the calendar.
And that's what we need.
Just make sure we tell Carrie that.
I will. I feel like, and Katy can speak differently on a different side of it, but for me, I'm like, just see us and include us.
Yeah.
We want our community wants so badly to be seen and acknowledged more than just a hi. Like to be like a part of the community. And I want opportunities for our people to serve and volunteer. And, I would love for businesses to come in and step in with the ARC and say, what can we sponsor? Yeah. Like, what can we put our name on? I'm like, it's an easy way for you to
tax write-off.
Yeah.
Tax deduction.
I'm like, write me a check and write it off. And you're changing 30 people's lives. And this isn't just a one and done change. It's a growth. And to see adults and caregivers and families who are starting off on this journey of they don't even know what this is about to really be like.
Right.
So yeah, I'm always for a sponsor or someone to step in and say, hey, we want to be a part. Can we provide funding for social groups? Like there aren't social things for our teenagers to do. And we're leading a social group and teaching them interaction and texting and calling. And, it's so cool to hear these teenagers walk out and be like, oh yeah, I told my friend I have something to do on Wednesday night. And we don't have things to do. We don't have football games. We don't have basketball games or church really, or no one's really inviting us over for sleepovers. So to hear these kids who are teenagers who've never really had a place to go besides therapy, and nobody wants to be like, I'm going to ABA, I'm going to OT. Yeah. They're like, oh, I have somewhere to be Wednesday night.
Is there like a, so to recap before I ask the next question, funding, sponsorship, always open.
I'll never say no to a
piggy bank
check.
is always open.
Yeah.
Do you need volunteers?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell everyone, we're getting ready to wrap up in a few minutes, but tell everyone where to find you so we can send you money and volunteers.
Yeah. The Arc of Williamson County, it's our website.
thearcwc.org.
Yeah. I was going to say tell it exactly what it is.
thearcwc.org. Brooke, if somebody wants to give us money, Brooke is who you want to talk to. If you need help, if you have a situation, you want to talk through it. Because a lot of times I need to listen to what your situation is before I know what you need. Then it would be me that you would need to reach out to, Katy. I did want to add to your fundraising thing as well. We have a fundraiser in December.
Oh, yeah.
Festival of Trees. We have a corporate sponsor for that. We would love another corporate sponsor. That is the only fundraiser that we're really doing right now. And so if anybody is interested in sponsoring that event, wanting to know more about it, give us a call.
Tell us a little bit about what the event is.
The Festival of Trees is it's a celebration of the disability community. The Holiday Inn on West End over near Vanderbilt, they allow us to come in and nonprofits in the disability community sponsor a tree. They come out and decorate it as in a theme. I think the one last year, Taylor Swift was the theme in that
fun.
one.
Yeah.
In the Rochelle Center.
Yeah.
So,
Megan Maroney this year.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. It'll be blue, blue tree. Yeah. With blonde hair.
Yeah. So, we, and then we have a big event around it where we have food and silent auction and then, there's awards given for the best tree. And it's just a really fun,
it's fun.
Like I said, it's a celebration of the disability community. So,
yeah. Well, my daughter is, I'm going to butcher this. I never say it right because there's so many things. She's Miss Teen Williamson County Pearl.
Oh, awesome.
Okay?
Oh, cool.
And her platform is exactly what y'all are talking about. And I grew up I'm the oldest of 5, and my parents were very involved in the Expanding Friendship Club. I don't know if you have heard of that. This was in the Midwest originally. I was born in Ohio and lived in the Midwest until I moved to New England. And then we came down to the South. The only place we haven't been is out West. But that was Wednesday nights. We went to the EFC, and it was adult handicapped individuals. And that was very normal for me. That was, we went on overnights to, retreats. And that was just how I grew up. And knowing that everybody is beautiful and amazing and has something incredible to offer. And my dad is involved in Saddle Up. And so is my daughter.
Right.
So I got to connect you guys with Isabel because
we're connected. I mean,
no, with my daughter though.
With
so
our
she
daughter,
can come
we would
serve
love,
because there's so much good that can be done. And I think about if everybody just said, hey, how do I just give something to this community here and help them to be seen and heard and have resources, we could make a world of difference. So for listeners or viewers, go check out the ARC-WC. And what I told them also, I love to bring attention and awareness to charities and nonprofits. So if you are a different charity or nonprofit, let's connect And the events that y'all have, I want to make sure we publish them for the community.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that you can't always go online and find. They're not going to be published everywhere, but that's what we do in College Grove Neighbors and Neighbors Franklin, is bring the community together. And that's all parts of the community. So, well, you guys are doing such incredible work.
Thank you.
This was a really just incredible time to feature both of you and what the work that you guys are doing. Thank you so much for being the great humans that you are. It takes everyone to make the world what it is, and doing all the good things that you guys are doing.
Well, thanks for having us. I mean, thanks for answering my email and featuring us and giving us the platform. I mean, I think to kind of like bookend and wrap it up is we want opportunity for your listeners out there. If there's opportunity in the community, reach out to me. If you don't see us, reach out to me, because I want to be there. Kind of like the same of like, you know, people don't know what we're doing. I also don't know what other people are doing. And I don't know opportunity where the art can step in or our community can step in and be a part of events or local things. And so it's a big picture, you know, we're all in it together. And I just appreciate you giving us this time to.
Yeah. And send the email. You know, it all started with.
Send the email.
Now, where are you live in Franklin? Do you get Neighbors of Franklin magazine?
Yeah,
okay.
I do. And I was like, I mean, I see it and I was like, And I don't know. It was just,
you felt
honestly,
I
came into the office and I just Googled like you, and it came up, and I sent an email and said, love your magazine. But I don't see families that look like my families. And there's a lot of families out there that look like me and my boys. And I think kind of like how I always say, like, as soon as you take it outside the setting of a school or, oh, my bagger's so nice, and you put like a real life piece to it, it grows. I mean, that's where community grows.
Definitely.
And diversity and everything. We're all different. But when you're living side by side and you're seeing families that don't look like your families, and then when you see them in public, it's easy to be like, oh, he's not, you know, he's not angry. He's actually stimming and having the time of his life. Like, I know him, you know, and that's what this is about, is just being seen. And it's hard to get out there to be seen.
And we love that. And as you know, my team, of course, responded and said, send us people.
Yeah. I was like, oh, no. Okay, hold on. I was like,
careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah, I literally was like, I have tons. Yeah. But I wasn't expecting you to respond and say yes, because I was like, people don't say yes to. People don't say yes to the art.
We say yes.
Yeah,
we say yes. We say yes to. Wait till you see August.
Yeah,
you're gonna love it.
I can't wait.
And I think it's August. I'm always confused because we're in June. July's done. We're working on, maybe it's July. One of these next ones coming up. You're gonna love. Wait. But yeah, and you know, I'll just take this opportunity to say, you saw something, and instead of saying this upsets me that I'm not seen, you said, I'm actually going to go make a change.
Absolutely.
And what you were met with wasn't resistance. It was open arms.
Like, come on. And then it grew to a podcast. I was like, oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, all right, here we go. You know, I was like, Katy.
You have to let's go.
Like, with her office, I was like, hey, Katy, we're doing a podcast. If you're okay with that.
Yeah. Okay. And you guys have crushed it. But, you know, to listeners out there, and I think this is ultimately, my podcast is focused on, typically we talk about business. It's just called the Lyndsay Stafford Show for the reason of, I want to talk about whatever I want to talk about. Right. So I don't want to be pigeonholed into one thing. But we talk a lot about business, and I'm really involved with the Entrepreneur Innovation Center in the hub that's right where you guys are in Franklin. And the lesson I would take from this is, if you see something that you want to change, do something about it. Yeah. Because look at what happened from that. And who knows what the podcast and 6,000 people reading about you is going to do for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope, I mean, Katy can say the same, and we talk about this all the time. Like, I want every family out there to know, one, they're not alone. Insurance is a lot of rejection. Oh, yeah. And the road is really scary, but, and there's a lot of great out there. But we are really genuinely here for free. I mean, everybody's like, well, how much does it cost? I'm like, nothing. Yeah. Like, our office is open. Like, we're available. We're not going to charge. There's no charge, you know? We're so grateful for that. Doesn't mean that we won't accept checks.
We need sponsorship so we can keep it free. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's already an expensive, daunting journey that out of everywhere I've ever been on my own autism journey as a mom, ARC's the only place that said, okay. There was no judgment. There was no, gosh, that's a lot. That's really hard. Good luck. It was more like, all right, I'll get back to you at the end of the day and let me see what we can do for you. And it changed everything for our family. And so I want families who are listening and hearing this to know you're not alone and we're here for you. And we'll do everything we can for you and your family.
Awesome. Well, we know where to find you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah.
Listeners, viewers, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like, share, comment, review, and I think that's it. Did I cover them all? I think I covered them. Thanks for listening.